Hey guys, this is Jason. Welcome back to my channel, The Humble Beginnings Homestead. Today we're going to be replacing the water pump on my tractor. So what we've got here is a 1974 Ford 3600 diesel tractor. I picked this tractor up last year. I've used it around the farm to break the garden. This year and last year I use it to bush hog. It's been a good little tractor. It's got low hours. It's only got 900 hours on it. It was a one owner. New tires all the way around. Just a good solid tractor for a small homestead like what we've got here. I was bush hogging yesterday and I noticed that the temperature was getting hot on the tractor. So I pulled it in. I checked the coolant looked fine, but it was dirty. So I flushed it. Still got warm. I flushed it again. It still got warm. Called my tractor buddy of mine over at H&S Tractor and asked him what he thought, and he said it's a good possibility the water pump had went out. As soon as I grab hold of a fan blade, I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a good 1/4 inch worth of play on that cooling fan. So I have never changed a water pump on a tractor before, but I also couldn't find any Ford 3600 water pump replacement videos on YouTube. So we're gonna go ahead and replace it and learn together. So the first thing that we're gonna need to do is we are going to need to drain the radiator. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's a drain plug right here. Now, I'm just going to drain this onto the ground. It's just water. In doing these flushes that I was doing, I wasn't putting coolant in until I knew that all the water was clean, and I knew that that was either my problem or was not my problem. So I don't have any antifreeze in here. I'm just going to drain it onto the ground. Obviously, if you have antifreeze, you're going to want to dispose of that properly. All right, another thing you're going to want to do is take your radiator cap off and set it to the side, and that's going to relieve that vacuum and allow this thing to drain quicker. I guess the next step is going to be getting this front clip off. I guess we're going to remove the grill so we can gain a little more access. hood is off. I'm assuming this front clip is going to have to come off so that we can gain better access to the radiator. So let's check that out. Now it looks to me like this bracket here on both sides is what holds the clip in. There may be some more bolts that I'm not seeing, but we're going to start by removing these. And these are 1/2 inch. Looks like we're going to have to remove our air cleaner hose as well, so we'll go ahead and do that now. At the bottom of this clip. There's one on this side and then one on the other side. This is going to be a 5/8 bolt. Okay, that was a little more difficult than what I anticipated. What I did have to do though is, if you guys are going to do this, just so you'll know, I was hanging right here and right here. So what I had to do is loosen up the front bumper, and I stuck a bolt in there to push this bumper forward, and that gave me enough room to clear this edge. And once I got over this edge, I was able to maneuver it around that edge. I also had to loosen these two wing nuts here. To this transmission cooler is actually mounted to the front clip. So to not have to pull the transmission cooler, I went ahead and unscrewed it from the front clip. So now I guess we'll work. Oh, I also had to undo the lights as well. So I guess now we'll move on to trying to remove the radiator. To remove the radiator, it looks like there is a bolt right here and a bolt on the corner on the other side as well. I've got an 11/16 wrench. So let's get those undone and see if we can pull this radiator. Okay, so the radiator fan is hanging on the shroud. So it looks like I'm going to have to take the fan off first and then pull the radiator. Okay, now that we got the fan out, that was 4 1/2 inch bolts that came out of the fan. Now we can pull our radiator. So right now would be a great time to go ahead and inspect your radiator. Make sure that there is no leaks or no damage here. The front side of my radiator, the bottom half of it is caked full of stuff. I try to keep this thing pressure washed or at least blew out with the hose, and with the transmission cooler in front of this radiator, it doesn't allow you to do that. So right now would be a really good time to go ahead and spray this thing out. I'm going to flush my radiator out while it's out with the garden hose. You can see all this orange rust coming out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that while it's out. But let's get back to the water. Let's get back to the water pump and see what the next step is. Okay, next step is going to be removing your belt. We're going to do that by loosening up this 1/2-inch bolt right here on the alternator, and then moving our alternator forward so that takes the tension off the belt. Okay, we rocked that alternator forward. Now we're going to slip off our belt. Now, I don't think that's too bad for this to be a 1974 with 900 hours on it, for this to be the original water pump. So hopefully I won't ever have to replace this pump again. But you can tell there is some play in this pulley, and if you'll listen, it doesn't sound too good. No noise, and there's no play. So hopefully that was my problem with this thing overheating. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get that gasket scraped off, and then we're going to do everything that we just did, just in the opposite direction. Also, this thing is covered in grease and probably diesel soot everywhere. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this thing down. I'm going to take the pressure washer to it before I put this thing back together. I want to keep the tractor running cool, keep it in good condition. It's the biggest tool that I have here on the homestead, and I want to keep it in as good a condition as I can. Okay, so that at this point, I have degreased the motor, I have pressure washed the motor, I have put a new thermostat and gasket in, and now it is time to get the water pump installed. So you see it looks much better in here with all the grease gone. I've also flushed the motor of all the old antifreeze, and I pressure washed the radiator and flush the radiator. Okay, so this kit came with 2 gaskets. I'm not entirely sure what this one is. I don't see anything that this would resemble, but here's our water pump gasket. Now, anytime I install anything like a water pump or a thermostat, I like to use Permatex. Permatex is just an extra step that aids against leaks, basically. Also, what I like about the Permatex is it holds the gasket into place so it doesn't move around when we're trying to put this thing back together and line up all the bolts. And you see that Permatex is going to hold our gasket in place while we're trying to fumble and get this lined up and get a couple bolts in it. All right, now that we've got all of our bolts into position, I'm going to go ahead and finger tighten them. And then after that, you want to tighten your water pump bolts just as you would if you were tightening the lug nuts on a tire. You want to go, you don't want to go all the way around. You want to go from this one to this one, from this one to this one, from this one to this one, all the way around until they're all tight. You want to do that so you don't break off any piece of the water pump, tightening it too tight or anything like that. I'm sure that this is supposed to be torqued down to something, but I don't have a torque wrench and I don't know those specs. So, but that's basically it. So from this point forward, you've got a new water pump on your Ford 3600. All you've got to do is put everything back together in the opposite order that you took it off, and you should be good to go. Hopefully with a new thermostat, new radiator fluid, a new water pump, flushing my system, flushing the radiator, and pressure washing the radiator, I should not have any problems with this thing overheating anymore this year. So guys, I appreciate you sticking along with me as I fumbled through taking this thing apart. Hopefully it can help you guys in the future with your all's tractor. Just in case you were curious, this is a homesteading channel. I don't work on tractors or work on cars. I just kind of do all my own work here on the homestead. And if you're curious about things that are maybe going to be happening here in the future, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? It would help my channel grow, plus it would give you an opportunity to see all the things that we do here on our homestead. We have a few chickens. We just got a baby Jersey calf to raise as a milk cow. We have it's spring here in Kentucky, so we've just put a garden in. We freeze, we talk about food, we share our recipes. It's gonna be a fun channel to be a part of. So if you guys would like, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If this video helped you at all, please hit the thumbs up. Give us a like if it taught you anything. And if you have any questions about how to do this, you need me to go over something again, or any questions about the Homesteader, this tractor here, go ahead and drop me a comment. I check them pretty regularly so that I can help you guys out with anything that you all need. So again, thanks again guys for watching. See you next time.